Welcome to Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. And now, Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater.
Welcome to the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Thank you for watching. What do you know about bats? You go, Diane, why are you asking me about bats? Well, we are known here in New Mexico for Carlsbad caverns, and we are known historically and throughout the country and perhaps throughout the world regarding the bat caves. Well, they're more than bat caves. On the show today, we're going to learn not only about Carlsbad caverns, which everybody seems to know about, but also about the city of Carlsbad itself. How important is it to our economy here in the state of New Mexico? What's the history of Carlsbad? And why should you perhaps visit it? So please stay with us as we welcome you and introduce you more than Carlsbad Caverns, but to Carlsbad itself. So please stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Hey America, now there's a place where we can join our voice. Real America's Voice. Real America's Voice is coming to a town near you with a grassroots approach, bringing the real voice of America together. Real America's Voice is growing our family of networks across the country, and soon you could be part of that change. Download the Real America's Voice app and join other Americans just like you across the country, coming together for real.
Carlsbad, it's the county seat of Eddy County. It's way in the southeastern part of the state. We know all that. I visited Carlsbad, very pleased to go there, and I've been to Carlsbad Caverns. But I don't know that much about it. My guests certainly do. So thank you for joining me on the program today. I have Rhonda Jones. She's an ambassador with the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce. And W Sutphin, thank you, JW, who is a retirement specialist with the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce. Appreciate that for joining us here in the show. What would you like people to know about Carlsbad most of all, Rhonda, in terms of economic development, in terms of what the city is all about?
Well, I think the city has a lot to offer, both for adults, seniors, children. We have all kinds of activities for the kids. We have activities for seniors, and so I think it offers a lot to a whole spectrum of people.
When people come to visit, JW, where do they come from? I mean, and why? We know they come down because of Carlsbad.
The caverns is the number one attraction, sure. And we're trying to change that a little bit. Carlsbad has the Pecos River running through it. People don't realize that there's so many activities along the river. And the city, in the last 3 or 4 years, the development there has been astronomical. Along the river, I found that there's 66 free things to do within a mile area. So everybody says, well, there's nothing to do in Carlsbad. Well, there is a lot to do. Obviously, we have kayaking, fishing. You can hike. We have 28 miles of hiking and stuff. So there's 41 activities that make up an outdoor recreation community. We have 38. You can't ski down there. We're not going to have any snow, but it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours to Ruidoso, and I can get you there on a bus. We don't have a lot of shopping malls and stuff, but I can get you to El Paso, the outlet malls and stuff. So
how far is El Paso from Carlsbad?
156 miles. So along the river, we have a municipal golf course, 18-hole golf course, par 3 golf course. We have a miniature golf, brand new, city just built. We also have a driving range. It's being remodeled. It's going to be like Top Golf. We're going to have 2 simulators and 4 stations on each side. We're going to have chairs. You're going to be able to relax, and we know it's 100 degrees of the evening. Come out at 8 or 9 o'clock. You can golf until 10 or 11, hit. So along the river, again, we have gazebos along the river every Saturday night.
You said it's changed, and I've been there, I think it was decades ago, to Carlsbad. So the river, you say it's changed exponentially in the past 4 or 5 years. What has happened in the past?
Not the river per se, but the activities along the river. The city has come in and they put in 8 pickleball courts. They put in tennis courts. We have a brand new beach volleyball. We have cornhole boards. We have a basketball. We put in several pavilions. So the
All
money is
pretty
go
much
back.
along the river
All
front.
of it's along the river.
What's the name? Is there a park along the river, Rhonda?
We have Friendship Park, and then we have what we call the castle. I don't know what the real name is, but it looks like a castle. The kids love it. We also have this really cool miniature golf course that we just put in. I think
All
it
along the
opened in-
river?
Yeah. It's right there next to the 18-hole golf course. It's really cool.
Along the river, there's 3.2 miles of, it's a paved, it's all flagstone. And we have lights every 50 yards, so you can walk around. It's all concrete all day long. We walk a lot of the evenings and stuff because it's lit up. Every 50 feet, there are benches. We have over 200 picnic tables and about 200 barbecue grills for people to come out. And people really use the park.
Beautiful. And you were able to do all this because you got money from the oil and gas industry?
The city lodgers tax, yes.
Tell me about the oil and gas industry, Rhonda. What do you know about it in Carlsbad?
Well, I know that it's big and the people are very generous. They do share with us the profits that they make, and they sponsor a lot of our activities, which makes it possible for us to do the things that we do. So we welcome the oil and gas industry.
You're in the Permian Basin, JW.
Yes.
And of course, the price of oil, the barrel of oil is we feel astronomical. And we know that in the state of New Mexico, that our budget, a lot of that is thankful to the Permian Basin and to the workers, to Carlsbad. And a lot of people in Santa Fe and Albuquerque may not realize or appreciate all that your area of the state does for the entire rest of the state. It gives us millions and millions and if not billions of dollars that go to our education, to fund our state government. So it's very appreciated. But because of that, you have a lot of population down there. I mean, a lot of people coming from Texas during the week that fill your hotel. So tell me a little bit about that, JW, about that industry in Carlsbad.
So Sunday night, a lot of these ExxonMobil, Chevron, XTO, a lot of those workers come out of Texas, and they're trying to move most of their facilities into Carlsbad. Chevron just built, ExxonMobil obviously is a Balloon Fiesta sponsor. Those guys come in and they stay in the hotels from Sunday to Thursday. Obviously the room rates are a little bit higher. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday the room rates go down. They leave town and go home for the 3 days. So it is, we may have a population of 65 or 70,000 Monday through Thursday, and 30,000 of those may go home on the weekends. So technically we have 31,000 in Carlsbad. Any given day with the man camps, with the trailer parks there, quite a bit.
What's a man camp?
Man camps are pretty cool. They have set up several around town. They actually are like 167 square feet, and they're little bitty. They roll those down. They're all like it's like a hotel room, and there's a whole row of them. They're built like giant mobile home parks, only each person has 167 square feet. So they have a bed that comes out of the wall, and they have toilet facilities, and then they have a place to cook. And so it's just real small, real tiny, a lot less expensive than being in a hotel room, but it's the same. They have amenities. They have someone that will do their laundry. They have a place to meet of the evenings for dinners, and they have a lot of Uber calls for food and stuff to calling in. So
how long has that been a phenomenon in Carlsbad?
Before COVID, everything took a nosedive. So we've been bouncing back since COVID. So Carlsbad, I moved there about 9 years ago. About 5 years ago, we were way behind on hotel rooms, on housing, apartment complexes.
Because I heard people had to drive in from Roswell, had
Yes.
to work again,
Yes.
the rigs in
So through
around
COVID,
Carlsbad. There
yes.
weren't enough hotel rooms or
Yes.
people renting rooms at all, so it was Big problem for visitors even to come down there because there was
Yes.
no place to stay. There weren't any places for the workers to stay.
Obviously, we don't want them to go to El Paso. We don't want them to go to Roswell to stay. So they have built 6 or 7 brand new hotels. A lot of the hotel chains have come in. They've changed that a lot. There are 3 or 4 brand new apartment complexes and about 5 or 6 housing developments. So those have finally caught up. They're selling like hotcakes. So we're expanding like everybody else. Carlsbad has finally, we signed a contract for a mall. We don't have a mall down there. So we'll be bringing in 3 or 4 big chain stores, along with a few places to eat. So the growth, we finally, I know you've been down there, and everybody has to drive through Carlsbad, Canal Street. If you got a semi, all of those sand trucks, all those oil trucks driving through town. They finally have an out route like Roswell does. You can go on the outside of town.
A truck
Yes,
route around the
absolutely.
town.
Around Carlsbad.
Finally.
Coming in from Hobbs and also coming in from Artesia on both sides. So to most of us, that was needed 30 years ago. We're finally expanded. Again, we've got all the hotel rooms. We're finally seeing that growth that we've been waiting for.
Well, that's a little surprising, Jedeba, because there have been boom and bust, Rhonda, in the oil and gas industry for decades, always a boom and bust. And there's been a lot of boom in recent decades, yet it took a long time for the building to catch up.
Yes.
That's a little surprising.
So, we can't talk about, we don't know about the past administrations and stuff. The people we have there now, CDOC, Jeff Campbell, and they are actively out 4 or 5 times a year in different parts of the country trying to bring that economic development and stuff. And it's kind of hard when they're showing 31,000 people when there's actually 75,000 people Monday through Thursday eating out. The
Yes, that's
restaurants
true.
don't want to come in. People, the hotels and stuff, they're really reluctant. But the last few stores we've opened up, HTO, the owner is actually out of Albuquerque. She opened up ACO. They're out of Texas. Awesome. They broke every record in the country opening day for the first 4 months.
For sales.
For sales.
So they're buying things.
Wingstop did the same thing. They
yeah.
were just blown away. Again, the last 3 or 4 have just, and they're like, oh my God, people need to come.
Well, we know the
we need it.
business of the oil and gas industry is thriving in Carlsbad. What other businesses can you tell us about as ambassador for the chamber, Rhonda?
Well, yeah, we have a variety of business there. Like you said, we're getting more stores in. We're getting a few more restaurants, and that makes it better too, so that if tourists come through, they have a lot of hotels now to choose from. They have a lot of different restaurants to choose from, which makes it a lot more attractive to come to Carlsbad.
When you say come through, where are they going? Are they going to Carlsbad or are they going through Carlsbad?
Well, sometimes they're coming through so they can go to the caverns. That happens a lot, and that one of the things that we try to do is encourage them to come back to Carlsbad and stay and spend the night there, because we've got the hotels and the restaurants to make it comfortable for them. And so we encourage them to come to Carlsbad Caverns, of course, but come back and stay in Carlsbad.
When they go to Carlsbad, Rhonda, where do they go stay? Where do they stay?
Well,
Are there hotels right at Carlsbad?
We have a lot of hotels. Just south of town is where we have the most of our hotels, and so it's real easy for them to stay in one of those hotels and then just go right down to the caverns and then come, and it's not that far from the Pecos River area, and they can come back up and go into the restaurants and do a little sightseeing in downtown, because we have some cute little stores in the downtown area, and then come to the Pecos River and do some of the things there, like the miniature golf or the golf course, or in the summer we've got a really cute water park that the kids love. It's fabulous, and we've got
Now, why just the summer? I think it's hot in Carlsbad much of the year, Rhonda.
yeah. Our water park is only open during the summer, but yeah, you're right. we have a lot of warmer weather there too. It gets pretty hot sometimes in the summer, but it's not that bad really. It's a dry. I come from Dallas, where we have horrible humidity. In Carlsbad, we don't have that humidity, so that heat doesn't bother me at all.
Why did you go from Dallas to Carlsbad?
Well, it was a great place to retire. The biggest reason why I came was because my son-in-law was actually from Carlsbad, and so we made the decision to go back and live there. But it was exciting for me because when I was 3 years old, my parents took me to Carlsbad Caverns for a trip. And I still remember that trip. I loved it, and I always, every chance I got, I would go back to the caverns. And so when I got the chance to actually live in Carlsbad and go to the caverns anytime I wanted, I jumped at the chance.
What do you like about the caverns? I mean, you were there when you were 3 and you loved going back.
I know,
Tell me about
gosh.
it. Tell me about it. And I've only been there one time. I need to go again.
Oh, I've been several times. It just, to me, it just mesmerizes me. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, and every time I go, I see things that I didn't see before. Before COVID, I would go there and do my walk instead of walking the river. I would walk the river a lot too, but sometimes I would just go down to the caverns and walk, and just in the beauty. It's so beautiful. Every inch of it is beautiful, and there's always something new to see.
What are they called? Stalactites?
Stalactites and stalagmites. Yeah, ones come up the ground and one of them comes down, and and the formations are just beautiful.
And the bats, I started with the bats. Tell me about the bats, Rhonda.
Oh, the bats. Now, if you've never seen the bats fly, they fly between April and October. In fact, they're still there, but I think they're going to leave probably pretty soon. But it's so cool. They have like a little theater setting right at the mouth of the cave, and you can go in. It's free, so you don't have to pay to go in there, and you sit very quietly. And about dusk, the bats will start flying, and you'll see thousands of bats fly out. It's amazing. It's amazing. And if you want to get up really early in the morning, they come back. And I haven't done that. It's too early for me. But I have talked to people that have done it, and they said it's really cool because the bats don't all come, at night, thousands come out at one time. But in the morning, they come a few at a time until they gradually get back in.
I didn't realize that you could go to the theater setting and just sit there, and there's no cost to enter the park to do that.
Yeah, it's free. So you can do that any night.
But then they migrate, I think, down to Mexico in the colder months. But they're in Carlsbad Caverns, and that's exciting.
Oh, it is to me. I love it.
What about you? You've seen the Carlsbad Caverns,
Yes.
JW?
It's, again, one of the wonders of the world, and to see the bats come back in one at a time and down, it just, there's so many questions that you really need. Does the same bat come out every night at the same time? Does he go back to the same location? Do they come from back to front or front to back? There's so many questions that you really start having, and they'll tell you, the ranger will come out 30 minutes before, and they'll tell you that if the bats come out and they go to the right, they're going to water. If they go to the left, they're going to feed. So Carlsbad doesn't have a problem with mosquitoes and moths. The bats eat those. So all of our pecan, all of our agriculture and stuff doesn't have to have fertilizer because the bats are there and they take care of all of that. So, and back to a little bit earlier, you mentioned about little known facts about Carlsbad. Intrepid and Mosaic are potash mines, one of our greatest exports. Potash is what they use for, they salt the roads. We ship everything up north, so if it snows, the potash is used to melt that. Also, that's what they use for fertilizer. So we're the #1 exporter of potash in the country.
Where is potash found? Just in the ground?
2,000 feet below the ground, yes.
Wait, 2,000 feet?
Yes. And then also we have WIP, the Waste Isolation Pilot Plant, the nuclear
Waste disposal?
plant. Yes, yes.
And that's how many feet below? About a mile?
About 2,000 feet. Same thing, about 2,100 feet. And the potash mines are within 12 miles of WIP. And then the caverns, which are about 30 miles away, also are underground, but obviously there's no salt. It is all stalactites, stalagmites. So to me, I was able to go underground for WIP and for Intrepid, and then you go to the caverns, and there's 3 different distinct types of the 2 different mining operations go on. And originally, they brought most of my parents from West Virginia back in the 50s out of the coal mines to go into the potash mines. It was a little bit easier. There wasn't, they didn't have any problems with breathing as they do there. So a lot of people migrated from back east into this area.
Talk about migration. I see in your booklet that a lot of people came to southeastern New Mexico in the late 1900s or the 19th century, rival of colonies of immigrants from England, Switzerland, France, and Italy along the banks of the Pecos River. Yes. A lot of Europeans are down there.
You know, they brought everybody back east in the coal mines. A lot of people that have asthma were brought out to this part of the country because it's a lot drier, and my parents and uncles were the same way. They gave my uncle 6 months to live in West Virginia because of the humidity, and he passed away at 89. So when he moved out here, the drier climate.
He moved out here in his 40s, when he was probably
yes,
in his 30s or 40s.
In his 40s, absolutely, yes.
And died at 89 in Carlsbad.
89 years old, yeah.
So the idea of the asthma. So your family came back from the West Virginia coal
Yes.
miners, but they did mining of potash.
Yes, started out in the potash mines in the 50s and through the 60s, yes.
Tell me about have you been to the WISE's isolation pilot program? No, down there, but JW you have. Yes. I've been fortunate to go down there. Right. And you said 2,000 feet? I think that's a mile. Is it a mile down?
Yeah, it's not quite a mile.
No,
yeah, it's close, yeah.
No, maybe that's too far. A mile's pretty long.
Yeah. So what's interesting is the Carlsbad Caverns is 55 degrees year round.
55.
And you go into WIP and it's surface temperature. So it can get hot in there. So they have fans blowing through there. So you go down in an elevator and they have these giant shafts and stuff. And I've always wanted to know about potash mining and WIP. With the potash mines, there's just one person running one machine, and everybody else is a support team for them. It does all the work, and then they have a conveyor belt that brings it out and runs it up. WIP is the same way. You have tons and tons of tunnels underground, miles, 12, 13, 14 miles of tunnels, and they have these little razor type vehicles that are running around, and they
but nothing's coming up here at WIP. Nothing's coming up. Everything's going down to be stored.
The storage tanks, they are taking the salt out and then taking the tanks in, and then those things close in, so it's a perfect place to store nuclear waste. And the nuclear waste that's in Carlsbad is all secondary. It is not, it's never come in contact with nuclear waste. What we have down there is when those people work with the nuclear, they have their gloves and their shoes, that stuff comes off, and that's what's
it's stored down in
Carlsbad. Yes.
I don't think WIP is open to the public.
No.
It's not, but just one elevator shaft, one huge elevator shaft going down.
Yes.
And that brought all the heavy equipment, all the motorized equipment. I imagine they had to assemble it, a lot of it down there.
Yes.
But is it in barrels or containers of contamination still use that same elevator shaft?
Yes, yeah.
One down, one up.
Yeah.
People and the containers go down there.
Yeah.
And it's stored deep underground.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's a federal government disposal facility. Again, taxpayers are paying for that. So we have the potash, the Carlsbad Caverns, the WIP. We have the beautiful Pecos River, which we're going to talk about. Anything else economic development-wise, Rhonda, that you'd like to share about Carlsbad?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think
agriculture.
Well, we have we have a lot of pecan trees and
there's a lot of pecan. Well, I only knew that because when JW said that the bats ate the insects and you don't need the fertilizer, so you have large pecan farms.
Mm-hmm. We have pecan farms. We have, I think they still grow cotton in certain places too, don't they? And hay and this type of thing. So yeah, we do have, and corn. We have corn too. Yeah. So we do have a lot of agriculture as well. Yeah.
That's
There's a
big
lot down there.
A lot down there, down the southeastern quarter in Eddy County.
Yes.
We've been here at the Bloom Fiesta this week, and we have a lot of, we're being impart a lot of information and stuff. So are you familiar with the flume? The only river that crosses itself in the world. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records. So obviously the Pecos River flows from Las Vegas, New Mexico, underground, and right before it gets to Carlsbad, it comes out. So they built an aqueduct in 1892. It was destroyed in 1912 flood, and so they rebuilt it out of concrete, and it's still there today. The water from Brantley Dam is shipped through town, and that's what crosses the river. So it goes through the aqueduct, through the flume, and the water flows through town. There's a canal, and that's what feeds all the farms and ranches and stuff. And we like to tell everybody all the time, I didn't know that. They didn't know about potash. They didn't know that the longest home run ever hit was in Carlsbad, 755 feet. There's so many things that we can impart knowledge on people and stuff. We didn't realize that. So many things.
But it was the irrigation that helped populate
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Carlsbad.
Yes.
And again, I didn't know, the river came from the Pecos,
Yeah,
from
the Pecos
Las
flows-
Vegas, New Mexico,
yes.
underground.
Goes underground until it gets right outside of Carlsbad, and then it resurfaces. So the Pecos River is dammed at 2 different locations. They also have, it's fed by 6 natural springs, so it'll never go dry.
Oh, so
So
that's
yeah,
good.
as the Rio Grande has lost some of its luster, the Pecos River stays at the same because it's dammed in. And again, there's natural springs that feed that. So our water content down there, the first thing one of the mayors asked me, we were all drinking bottled water, and he's going, why? We have the best water system around. You know,
And the
we have
best
ground
place
spring
to
waters
see
and
the
stuff.
Pecos
Yeah.
River, so many things that we'll talk about on another show, the Pecos, the Christmas on the Pecos we've heard about. W Sutphin, thank you so much for being a part of this program. And Rhonda, thank you so much for bringing us some color to economic development in Carlsbad. We're going to have you back talking about retirement in that lovely city along the Pecos River. Thank you so much for watching the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Make it a great week with your family. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
The New Mexico Modern Child Support Family Program works to benefit both parents for the purpose of improving children's lives. It provides the basics of child support, but goes further by helping parents step up to find better job opportunities that get them back on track to paying their monthly child support obligation. Find out how the Child Support Step Up program can help your modern family. Contact New Mexico Child Support today to learn more.
Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.